Hello to one and all. Let's get stronger at completing the square. How about that, huh? Boom. So this is taken from a compilation from the Student Hub's class drive where I have compiled all the completing the square questions. Those in the class, you can go look for this drive. It's labeled, what is it labeled? It's labeled something. Exam resources. So you can go look at the exam resources folder. We have opened it up for all the classes. And you would see compilations of all the different topics there, as well as you will see some more sheets getting added to the 100 question drive where we have 100 questions on different topics. So the solution for these can be found online, www.coenspringer.com. Anytime you're doing past papers and you want up-to-date solutions, I also finished the solutions for 2025, which I'll try to upload today or tomorrow. You can go to that website for the latest in solutions, and I'll try to get more and more past paper solutions up on that website as well. It won't just be CSEC maths, there's also Ad Maths, SCA, and more coming, physics and stuff like that. So, all right, people, that's enough for announcements. There's also the number that's running at the bottom of the screen that you can use for registering for any classes in the Student Hub, whether it be CSEC, Maths, English, HSP, Biology, Chemistry, POA, POB, Technical Drawing, whatever it may be, English Literature, Chemistry, Physics, whatever you're looking for. We got it right here. So let's just jump right into it. This is a quadratic equation, and we need to write it in the form ax plus b squared plus ax plus b all to b squared plus c. For those of y'all who know, if you know what you know, that is called completing the square, right? We call that completing the square where I come from. We need to write it in the vertex form. So I will show you two quick methods. We'll go over two quick methods. I hope everyone is enjoying. We'll go over two quick methods where we can complete the square. So the first method is, of course, the formula method, where we just find the value of h, which is b over 2a, and k is 4ac minus b squared over 4a. And then you forget the formula there, boy. So then you're going to substitute. Now, this is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So from this, we can see b can be read as negative 8 over 2 times 3, right? Negative 8 over 2 times 3. Are we seeing that, class? So I can read this as negative 8 over 2 times 3. I'm substituting these right there. And k can be substituted as 4, 3, 2 minus negative 8 squared all over 4 times 3. If you understand that substitution, type I understand the reference. I understand the substitution in the chat, right? Feel free to interact in the chat. The 2, where did the 2 come from? The 2 is really replacing the c here that's there. So we can see that a clean substitution must happen in this formula method. The formula method is the most popular method, popularized right here on this very same YouTube channel, right? We can see this is just because I have C there, A here, I substitute, and they like, right? Everybody's following this scheme from A as well. B is here. So after that, you can plug it into your calculator straight up and get your answer. This turns out to be negative 8 over 6, which can be reduced. 2 can go into 8 4 times, so you get negative 4, and 2 can go into 6 3 times. So negative 4 over 3, which can be, understand that negative 4 over 3 is equivalent to 4 over negative 3, which is also the same as 4 over negative 3 if we put the negative there, right? Don't let these fractions confuse you. Anybody got an answer for k yet? Can you put this into your calculator and tell me what answer that you're getting? Of course, the method that we are doing here is known as the formula method. Formula method. Formula method, anyone? Do you know of the formula method? Formula method. So you all got a value for K? Anybody has the value for K? K should be, let me take a little peep in the chat. 10 over 3 says Natalia. 10 over 3. 4 by 3 by 2, that's like 4 by 6, so that's 24. And this is minus negative 8 squared is actually positive 64 over 4 by 3 is 12. So I'm getting 40. I'm getting negative 40 over 12. That's what I'm getting. I don't know why I switched to black. Let me just switch back. Negative 40 over 12. You can check the math out in your calculator. I think it's good. And negative 40 over 12 can be reduced by dividing by both numerator and denominator by 4. 4 into 40 is 10, and 4 into 12 is 3. So you get negative 10 over 3, which is the same answer that Natalia is saying there. Natalia is on a roll. Well done, Natalia. So now that we have our values, this is the formula method, and now that we have our values of H and K, we can say, therefore, G of X, which is what we were trying to find in a new form, is equal to, and be reminded that the form looks like this. Now, it's very weird when they use A, B, and C. And this is a paper from 2010. Since like 2018, they kind of left out using A, B, and C because it messes up the student unnecessarily, and I can appreciate that. Things that just confuse the student for no reason whatsoever. B has already been established at this, and C has already been established at this. So why call this A, B, and C? So write G of X in the format here. So I am going to say, for your sake, I'm just going to use H and K, right? It's G of H. So A is, I'll show you what I mean, is equal to, and the answer is 3x, and H is negative 4 over 3. So V squared plus K, but K is negative 10 over 3, so I'll just put minus 10 over 3. And then I'll write, which is in the form A into X plus H to B squared plus K. Now, in this paper, they wrote it like A into X plus B to B squared plus C. Let's check it again. It's the same thing, X plus B to B squared plus, it's just that they're calling H B, which is a very bad thing to do, right? So, okay. And that's it. Now we can use another method. We can use the perfect square method. So the perfect square method usually works in 3 lines. So let's do the perfect square method in black here. So if you have G of X is equal to 3x squared minus 8x plus 2. In our perfect square method, we'll perfectly start by whipping out the A from the first 2 terms. And that's a forced factorization there. So we remove 3 out of the first 2 terms. Is that good with everyone? I'm seeing someone messaging me on WhatsApp. Maybe they want me to try and run it on TikTok as well. Maybe when I go into the next question. So 3 into x squared minus 8 over 3x plus 2. So we learning to complete the square. This is a different method. I explained this method on this channel here. Those of you who in my class who went through it last week. What's next? Next up is a bunch of steps. So try and stay up. Try and pick it up. I'm not going to go in depth into these steps. This is a practice session, but I'll see each step that I'm doing, right? Each thought process here. So I'm going to find half of this. When I find half of 8 over 3, I'm basically multiplying by half. Find half of that, so I know that it's 8 over 6. I'm going to keep my eyes out for that number, which is, by the way, negative 8 over 6. And then I'm going to square that number in my mind. 8 squared is 64 and 6 squared is 36. So what am I going to do with that number? I'm going to actually add it in here. I'm going to add in that number, which is 64 over 36. So what did I do? I found half of this and I squared it and added it in as the first step. By doing that, by the way, I would have created inside of the brackets a perfect square. That's why we call this the perfect square method. Then plus 2, and since I Since very good, Malik. Malik has that there. Half of the negative 8 over 3 then square. Great. So that's the special 64 over 36 that I added. Since I added that in, what do I have to do? I have to take it back out. I'm going to have to take back out 64 over 36. No, not quite. Because I didn't really add in 64 over 36. I wrote 64 over 36 here. But it was 64 over 36 multiplied by the 3. The 3 is standing outside of this bracket, which means I added in 3 of this. So therefore, I need to cancel the 3 with the 36 and I'll get 12. So this method, over the years has proven very confusing for students and made it push this topic up to one of the I say top 3 hardest things you can do for CXC. So we can take a little peep over at this and see negative 8 over 6 is what? Negative 8 over 6 is the same as negative 4 over 3. So we're going in the right direction. What did I do? Once I have found this, I can condense it into a perfect square, which is just a repeated binomial being squared, x minus something to be squared or x plus something all to be squared, by finding half of that, which I already know was the 8 over 6. So I just write that back there. That's the last step. And then 2 minus 64 over 12. Well, we can envision 2 as really 24 over 12 minus 64 over 12, which breaks down very quickly to the same thing we got a while ago. Usually this thing takes like 3 lines. I'm just spending extra time here to show you what this is. This is going to be negative 40 over 12, which we already established is 10 over 3, negative 10 over 3, just like before. So whether you do this method or the formula method, you must be able to complete the square, because after you've completed the square, and they gave you 3 marks for that back in the days, now they usually give you 2. You ask to solve the equation, write in your answers to 2 decimal places. So we get a chance to solve. Now keep in mind, every time you complete this square, you are asked 3 main concepts, and I'll state them here in a fresh new page. Every time you complete the square, you are asked 3 main ideas. You're either asked about the y-intercept, which is not found by completing the square. This is actually the c value from the original equation. Or you can be asked about what? You can be asked about this guy, questions related to this guy, which is the turning point, usually the minimum point, but it can also be a maximum point. So you'll see a bunch of these pop up today as we do this workshop. Or you can be asked about the roots. The roots is what you get when you solve your f of x is equal to 0, also known as the x-intercepts. So on a graph, the turning point would be this point here, or this point here, a maximum or minimum. On a graph, the y-intercept will be this point here, where it intercepts the y-axis. On a graph, the roots will be these points here, 2 points actually, where it intercepts the x-axis. There is the situation where you can get no roots. You can get no roots if it never crosses the x-axis like this. You can even get one repeated root when the x-axis is a tangent like this. But usually you get 2 roots. So this is what we are being asked to find. When f of x is 0, find the roots. So we'll come back to this a few times during this workshop. So now we just need to solve. And since they said hence, most likely this says hence, let's go back and see. No, they didn't say hence, but usually hence follows here. So they said solve the equation, correct the 2 decimal places. Now, since they didn't say hence, you could actually use the quadratic formula here, which was actually tested last year. But okay, let's use the method because we are practicing to complete the square. So after you've completed the square, how do you solve? Well, you say when g of x is equal to 0, this what we just found when we complete the square will now be equal to 0. This value here, 3 x minus 4 over 3 squared minus 10 over 3 is equal to 0. So what are the next few steps? Now this is one of the things that is very mechanical, very same thing every time. What are the next few steps? Anytime you have to do this root stuff, it's going to be the exact same thing every time. Oh. Well, the next few steps are to bring across the negative 10 over 3. Yes, carry. Very good, Amanda. Amanda said it, carry over the negative 10 over 3. So it becomes positive. So this, whatever you have here, bring that across one time. That's your next step. Across the equal sign we are suggesting. So don't try to unravel this. So we'll be going 3x minus 4 over 3 to be squared is equal to 10 over 3. Then you bring across the 3 as well. So you get x minus 4 over 3 squared is equal to 10 over, if the 3 comes, it will go and multiply by this 3 here and you get 9. Pay attention to that move. Usually it's a 2 that you're bringing across and it will multiply by the denominator. Then you need the square root. So you'll get x minus 4 over 3 is equal to the square root of 10 over 9. And you put plus or minus because you want the two values of the square root. Keeping in mind, like if you have the square root of 25, yes, the answer is 5. But the answer can also be negative 5. Negative 5 by negative 5 is also 25. That's why we indicate this with a plus or minus to show that we are considering the two possible outcomes. Then the final step would be to carry over the four over 3, which is subtracting, so we add it back here. Now, on our calculator, we'll get two answers when you plug this in. We can say either, and try it on your calculator and tell me what you get, class. The square root of 10 over 9 plus 4 over 3. Make sure this is on away from it. So like this is separate. Either x is that. So either x is that or x is negative 10 over 9 plus 4 over 3. So either you have x1 or x2. So let's go. What values you're getting? Positive 10 over 9 square root is like 1.05. And we want to add that with 4 over 3. And you would get 2.39. And I think they suggested a number of decimal places. Corrected 2 decimal places. Anybody got that for the first one? 2.39? Yes or no? And with the negative situation, 4 over 3 added to that, we will get 0.28. 0.28 as your two values. That's how you do it. These are your answers. 4 marks right there. They said 2 decimal places victory, so that's why I approximated like that. Now they want us to copy and complete the sketch and state the y coordinate of A. So the y coordinate of A, that is the y-intercept that is found right here. So that is, they said state, right? State, so you just state. So y coordinate of A is 2. Now the whole value of this is 0, 2. The whole coordinate is 0, 2, but the y coordinate itself is just 2. The x coordinate of C here, this is one of the roots. This is the larger root. When there was a root that was 0.28, and then there was a root that was 2.39. So C is the one that is 2.39. So the x coordinate of C is 2.39. The x and y coordinates of B, Well, this is always the negative h comma k value. Where did I get these h and k's from? Well, that's when I completed the square. So when I complete the square, I got negative 4 over 3 and negative 10 over 3. Well, the thing about it, this represents our h here, h, and this represents our k. And we want negative h, which means switch the sign on h. Therefore, the coordinates will be positive 4 over 3, and you leave the sign, the negative sign, unbothered with k. So those are the values that we're looking at for where did it go? Yes, h and k, negative 4 over 3, negative 10 over 3. So one would be positive 4 over 3 and negative 10 over 3. And that's the entire of completing the square in the good exam January 2010, given almost 16 years ago. They would have done this. That is 5 years actually after I wrote CSEC. So let's try another one. What do you think? We're going into 2011 now. Here we have express the quadratic function in the form like this. I'm tempted to skip this one because it's so unorthodox, but you know what? I'll still do it. The thing with this one, what do we notice that's special about this one compared to almost all the other completing the squares you would have done, seen, revised? This here they had it a little rough. What was the issue here? What is weird about this one? What is looking strange about this? What is crazy about this? That k minus a what? What is going on? Hence state the maximum value of negative 6x minus x squared, the equation of the axis of symmetry of the quadratic function. So all of these is normal stuff, right? But this, why is this back to front? Well, the k is in front, and we also notice there's a negative sign in front of the a. Now, if we go over and watch the quadratic formula given here in the general form, there's a negative sign in front of the x squared. It's kind of back to front. So just in case the rare chance that this piece of madness show up on your doorsteps in the next few months in your exam, let's go and see how we'll tackle this. Now, which method do you want me to do? Do you want me to approach to the formula method or just our normal, why I can't piece, our normal perfect square method? Why I can't right click? All of a sudden I don't have the option to right click. Oh, I know why. Which one of the methods you want me to approach this with, class? Formula, what do you want? I'm just checking the percentage battery on my mouse. Would you believe my mouse knocked out on me? 8%. During Sunday revision. Josanna is saying just do that natural perfect square method, So if you're doing the perfect square method and you approach with this, I would immediately rearrange it. I would write negative x squared minus 6x plus 1. Do you understand that move? I might even do this for the formula method too. So I just rearrange it and I deal with it at face value. Now, since I know I want the negative sign outside, you're seeing that, right? I'm going to whip out a by whipping out a whole negative number. So I'm going to put negative 1 into x squared plus 6x plus 1. Why is in the chat if you understand that? And then I'm going to say let f of x. I want to just use f of x if I have to refer to this in the future again. Let f of x equal negative x squared minus 6x plus 1. Whip out the negative 1, and I'm on track here. And this should be a little familiar. There's one thing those of you who do the perfect square method need to watch out for when it's negative still. So, yeah, my mouse has to charge. So 6x, we're doing the same thing. You all remember this step here? We found half, and we square it, right? And this time we do have a fraction, so that's beautiful. Half of 6 is 3. And 3 squared is 9. Ladies and gentlemen, you have done, every time you do this, usually you have a fraction to deal with there, like before. But when you've done this, as I said, you create a perfect square, which can quickly be factorized as a square of a binomial, as a square of something like this. Like this, we can just change it into that. So that's actually x plus 3. So let me write that in the next line. That's x plus 3 to be squared. Just solve that part there. See that? But there's more. Remember, when you add in this number, you have to cater for it. I added in this number, so I have to take it out, right? Wait. I didn't even put back the plus 1. I didn't even put back the plus 1 from here. So I added in 9. I need to take it back out. Yes, but then you always need to check to see what the A was doing. If this was 2, I would actually need to take back out 2 of this. But the A is negative. So it turns out I didn't add in 9 by writing add 9 here. What did I do? By writing add 9 here, I negative 1 times plus 9 is negative 9. I threw in negative 9 into the equation. So to balance off the equation, I actually need to put plus 9 here. That gets people all the time. That gets people all the time in this question. All the time. Every time they're doing this question. So therefore, this will be plus 10. Now, when we're doing the crash course in the April class, I will show you on your calculator how to double check this. You can complete the square using your calculator, this calculator. The calculator I recommended many years ago. You can go on my channel and see me recommending this calculator, the Casio. It's a specific type of Casio. So this is the answer. This is the answer. When you understand this, if you understand this, type I understand in the chat. And I've just completed the square. Fortunately for us, there's no fractions involved. And now I can rearrange this. I can rearrange this so that it matches up their specific style that they want for now. Bring the 10 in front. I'll get 10 minus 1 over x plus 3 to be squared. Then I'll write in the form k minus ax plus h to be squared, where k is 10, a is negative 1, and h is 3. And from this, I can answer off a bunch of questions. So I was supposed to go live on TikTok. In the meanwhile, it's just a press of a button right now for me. So in the meanwhile, see if you can finish off these questions here. Actually, let me not scare the TikTok community with this one, right? Let me wait till you reach back to that normal looking question, right? Hence the maximum value. So the maximum value, because A is negative, this curve is actually going like this. And I said before, the turning point is always negative h comma k. And they use the word state, which means I don't need to give any explanations. I just need to write it down. A is negative hk, which in this case, negative h, this is the maximum value, by the way, is 3. Switch the sign. It's positive, so it's negative now. K is 10. Yes? And the axis of symmetry is always going to be x is equal to negative h. You have to literally write that. So I'll write x is equal to negative h and make the substitution in the next line, which would look like x is equal to negative 3. This is the answer, what they're looking for. This is the answer here, what they're looking for. And now we ask to determine the roots. You can't just write negative 3, right, Josanna? You have to write x is equal to negative 3. So those of you all who are watching this new, like if you're a CSEC student and you're watching this fresh, this ain't going to look too good, eh? Go watch the other things on the channel. Don't do yourself this. You could still pass maths and not know this. I know as a teacher I probably shouldn't say that, but yes, this is one of the toughest things you can do for CSEC maths. So make sure you know a lot of stuff before you start learning this, as you can see, like graphs and factorizing. This is where we are at in our classes in the student hub right now. So 1 minus 6x minus x squared is equal to 0. Given your answer to 2 decimal places. So this is the roots. This is the solve stuff that we did just now. We want to pick up with this and quickly solve it now. This seems like something that might solve really nicely, right? So what I'll say is roots happen. And remember, I called it f of x. So I can now hijack that. Roots occur. How is it occur? 2 hours or 1? Roots happen at f of x is equal to 0. So f of x is equal to 0 is this thing here being equal to 0. So I can put 10 minus 1 into x plus 3 to be squared equal to 0. Yes? Then what do? You bring across the k. It's the same thing every time, right? The k was usually on this side, but I'll bring it across and it will switch sign. It's actually positive here. So it's going to switch into -9. Then I'm going to bring across the 1, the A, same thing every time. It's going to switch into division. -9/1 is +9. Then what comes next? To get rid of the square, I bring across the square root. But I don't forget to put plus or minus. Now I know the square root of 9 offhand. The square root of 9 is 3. So the very next line, I can put 3 plus or minus. And I can also bring across this 3 here, which is another 3, in the same breath. That's -3. So either x is +3 minus 3, which is 0, or x is -3 minus 3, which is -6. And that's it. We found the 2 roots. Rate out of 10, how much you all understand this one? I know it was a tough one. This was probably one of the toughest completing the square questions to ever grace our presence on the exam. One of them, since it was a kind of back to front question. Let's go on to another one. Express the function. All right, so this is very straightforward. Very straightforward. TikTok had fallen in this early. What do you think? We call along the TikTok areas here. Where is my TikTok live studio thing? Show up in the right spot this time, boy. You're always showing up down there. Gosh, man. All right, so we live. We live on TikTok. What's up? We are doing completing square revision. This is for CSEC students. So express the function f of x is equal to 4x squared minus 8x minus 2 in the form a into x plus 8 squared plus k. This is our classical here. Normal, familiar, home territory. State the minimum value of f of x and the value of x for which f of x is a minimum. So we need to complete the square first. What method do you want me to use to complete the square, class? YouTube gets the pick. What method do you want me to use to complete the square? The vertex form is the same thing. What normal method do you mean? What do you mean by the normal method? That vertex method. That there's the vertex form is what happens when you complete the square. Everybody keeps saying the perfect square method. Oh, you want me to use the formula? He said formula, people. Is it Janam Lalchan? He said formula. So last time I did the natural method. So let's do the formula this time. For the formula crew, right? Formula crew, you all win this time. So let's go get this formula method done. Actually, I don't want that line. I just want it to narrow so I have more space to write. Good. So formula method, you just write back f of x is equal to 4x squared minus 8x minus 2. When you're learning from me on YouTube, it's very safe to copy my flow word for word. Like the way that you see me structure questions, try to structure it that way. Right? The same style you see me write a h and a k separated, you write the f of x, you would see it's going to make you just memorize things faster before the exam. Watch and you would see. B over 2a, so you have -8 over, so that was just the formula, and now we're substituting, we're just substituting clean, right? So this is negative, it's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So you can see, can you envision what's going to happen in the next line? I'm just going to substitute. Yes, sir, algorithm. -8 over 2 by 4, and this is going to be 4 by 4. Whoa. That was really 4. So I could actually factor out 2 out of this and simplify this a little more and then put it back in. But let's just leave it. 4 by 4 by c is -2 minus b squared is negative. Hey, we got a -8 again for b. And then you put all of this over 4a, which is 4 by 4. So we're dealing with a lot of 4s in this. This turns out to be -1, which is very nice for us. -1 is usually an indication that we're going to have a happy time. any whole number for h or k is good things, but usually it's a fraction, which kind of makes it messy. So which means if I had used my normal natural perfect square method here, where I whip out the a and get that intermediate term, make that perfect square, it would have been pretty nice. So 4 by 4 is 60 by minus 2 is negative 32 minus 64. That's going to go up some more, divided by 16, right? 4 by 4 is 16 times 2 is 32. So 16 can go into 32 2 times, and 16 can go into 64 4 times. So I know whatever that number is there, it's going to go into that 6 times, negative 6 times. That's making sense? Negative 6 is the answer. Why is in the chat for yes if you understand YouTube? How are you feeling? TikTok, welcome. So we went from SEA TikTok, which we were doing yesterday, to one of the toughest things that you can do in CSEC maths, right? Completing the square. And now that I've figured out the value of h and k, I'm basically done. I can write it over in this form that they're suggesting here, ax plus h. So I can write, therefore, f of x, a is 4 by the way, is equal to 4 into x minus 1 to b squared minus 6. And this is in the form a into x plus h to b squared plus k. Ready? Making sense? So when you're learning this formula method, you write the equation, you write your h, you write your k, you find your values for h and k, then you substitute it back in using the general form. Can't go wrong. Easiest method for completing the square. And you must know how to complete the square. Comes to a lot of marks when it does show. The minimum value of f of x. So the minimum value of f of x is talking about this part of the curve, which is the turning point, which we know negative h comma k. You see how much quick marks come after you complete the square? We have just done 3 questions, and these are past paper questions, actual past paper questions. We've just done 3 of them. Every time you complete the square, they ask you some simple 1-mark question, 1 mark, 1 mark, 2 marks. And you must know how to complete this square, so you can just quickly collect these marks. So for part 2, the answer is negative h comma k. That's it's not that. That's the coordinates of the minimum point, but they're looking specifically for the minimum value of f of x. F of x is the y value when this is happening, the k. So the minimum value of f of x is k, which is in this case what we got k to be. We got k to be negative 6. That's it. You just write negative 6. If you write 2, negative 6, you get full marks. You get your full 1 mark there. And number 3, the value of x for which f of x is at the minimum. That's this. So we spoke about this in class last week. You all remember this? The x value is the value of x at the minimum, and the y value is the value of y at the minimum, or the f of x at the minimum value of f of x is another way of saying it. So if they want the value of x for which f of x is minimum, this occurs, the value of x for which f of x is minimum is h, which is negative 1. And that's it. Oh, sorry, it's negative h. So we're going to have to switch the sign because negative h. So it's not negative 1, it's positive 1. Class, are we cooking? That's another year. That's 3 years down. If you're ready for another year, type another year in the chat, another one. We're eating up these, completing these square questions here. Let's see if we can get at least 6 years inside. Let's see if we can get 6 years of past papers inside the dance here. Here we go. We reached 2013, ladies and gentlemen. This is straightforward. Nothing spooky about that. We are accustomed with this look. And then look. Watch here, people. Watch. After you've completed the square, what do we get asked? Minimum value of f of x. We already know that is going to be our k. And the value of x over f of x, that is our negative h. and then solve the equation. That's the, anytime you see solve the equation and equal to 0, that's the roots. That's the stuff where we bring across the k, we bring the a underneath, we find the square root, we put plus or minus, and we bring across the last number and we figure it out. We do like 2 of that already. So let's go. Are we ready, ladies and gents? If you're ready, type ready. Type ready, TikTok if you're ready. Let's go. So we're studying some completing the square. Now, this is actually my official class time, and I try to do like maybe 1, 2, or 3 of this in the year. And since I have like 3 classes, you'll see it happen maybe like 6 times for the year, where I go live on YouTube in one of my classes. This is what happens every Monday at 4:30. Monday class, say hello. Those of you all from the Monday class, how things? Are they like this YouTube setting? Are they like the public setting? Or are they ready to go back in the Google Meet next week? You're going back in the Google Meet next week. So f of x is equal to 3x squared minus. All right, we're trying to complete the square. Which method you all want me to do? Somebody say do formula again. They know I'm going to ask which method. Do formula again. All right, guys, I'm going to do the formula method again by request. But perfect square method is coming up in the next one, right? So you write this, then you write your formula. H is b over, the formula doesn't change. K is 4ac minus b squared all over 4a. The formula doesn't change. You substitute, knowing that this is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Can you all tell me the values of h and k before I write it? Can you get the values of h and k? The formula method, you just need to memorize the formula. It's now your job to memorize h and k, the formulas for it. It's not written in the paper. Everybody, can you press like on the stream? Feel free to share this in your class if you want to as well. Tell them, hey, come and learn something. You know you need it. So b is negative 5 over 2 by 3. And we have 4 by a, which is 3, and c is 1, minus, look out for the signs. Now, don't ever worry if you see a negative sign for b and it has to square, right? It's going to turn positive. Over 4 by 3. So I'm getting a nice looking negative 5 over 6, followed up with 4 by 3 is 12, minus 25 over 12. Now, this negative remains and this negative gets vanquished. Negative 5 by negative 5 is 25. So I'm still good. I'm still good. This is giving me what? Negative 13 over 12. We all got those 2 answers. Negative 5 over 6 for h. I'm seeing that all over the chat. I'm seeing that in TikTok. I'm seeing that in YouTube. Negative 5 over 6, negative 13 over 12 for the value of k. Really well done, guys. Really well done. So now we have basically completed the square. Really haven't written it. So let's write it. So we write a. So therefore, f of x is equal to a is 3x minus, well, plus h, but it's minus 5 over 6 to be squared. Put down k as well, minus 13 over 12. And this is in the form a into x plus h to be squared plus k. So class from the student, when you're studying this, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go through those compilations, take it out. Let's say you want to study bearings. Go look up the compilations that we have on bearings. You have all these years of bearings questions and just do them one by one and just keep watching your answers on my website, provinspringer.com. Oh, I got this one wrong. Oh, I got this one correct. Here's what to fix. Here's what to tweak. Do it over. How you would not get a 1 if you keep doing that? How? They can't stop you. So we just completed the square. We collected our 2 marks. Hence or otherwise determine the minimum value of f of x. Remember what I told you. The minimum value of f of x is always k. So, minimum value of f of x is always the k value. What is in k? It's negative 13 over 12. And the value of x at the minimum point, another mark just walking, just so. Value of x at minimum is always negative h. What is h? H is negative 5 over 6. So let's just switch that to positive 5 over 6. Class, are we cooking? So you get 2 marks for all of this, but you get a quick 2 more marks for this. All right, you need 2 like this. 2 marks for all of this, and the next quick 2 more marks just for stating. You see why it's important to know how to complete the square? It can easily turn into one of the fastest ways to gain some tough marks in the exam. Easily. Solve the equation 3x squared minus. So this is the other part where we solve. And how do we solve? We use the completed square form, that vertex form. We equate it to 0 and we follow the steps. So you're getting to see me do it again for those of you who just joined. If you just joined and they ask you to solve quadratic, after you have completed the square, you just write back the completed the square format here. Squared minus 13 over 12 equal, and you put it to 0. And you find your value of x in this. Somebody in lessons digging this in. Wake up yourself. So then you're gonna bring across the 13 over 12. It's gonna turn positive. Then you're gonna bring across the 3. And they wanted the answer correct to some decimal places. The 3 will interact with the 12 and get 13 over 36. Or you can just say 13 over 12 divided by 3 on your calculator and it will tell you. Then you'll have to get the square root. Now 13 is a kind of messy number here, but 36 actually does have a root. So it's equal to the square root of 13 over 36, and we want plus or minus. Plus or minus. Was it really 13 over 36 or minus? It's awkward that they would put one that could get the square root and another one that can't. This can be simplified by saying I can put root 13 over 6 and do some stuff like that. But I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to wait for my calculator in the end. So x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 13 over 36 plus 5 over 6. So either x gets to be positive 13 over 36 plus 5 over 6 after you get the square root. Somebody tell me that answer. I think Victory already string out some answer. Or x is equal to 13 over 36 negative that plus the 5 over 6. So, yes, that is directly punched into your calculator. 13 over 36. During the crash course, I was showing my class how to punch in that into your calculator. 5 over 6. And negative. One of them was negative. Victory, did you leave out a negative 0.23 here? Oh no, I did silliness. I did silliness. Oh boy, it's not negative. Right now, Victory watching a calculator like, no, Victory, it wasn't you, it was me. It was me. I subtracted the 5 over 6 for some strange reason. So this one is 1.43, and the next one is 0.23. 0.23. And they wanted it to 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places, so that's why we stopped there. Yeah. Good job, guys. If you're ready for the next one, type another one in the chat. This is the 4th. This is number 4. We just knocked down 4 quick questions in completing this square. Here we go. This is number 5, reaching June 2013. June 2013, completing this square. Let's read this question. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being easy and 1 being hard, that's a kind of weird scale. Where do you think this lies? This good bit of marks for just completing the square. So, and then sketch the graph. So a sketch of the graph. We're getting introduced to something a little new here, and I want to show you a blistering, cutting edge technique. The sketch the graph. I was warning the class about this, how to sketch the graph. They want you, when you sketch the graph, to show the y-intercepts and the coordinates of the minimum point. So they didn't ask to show the roots. Notice that, right? The roots is noticeably missing here. So we just needed the coordinates of the minimum point. So technically, all we need is the y-axis. But I am going to go extra and find the roots. Show you how to find the roots, or how to get the roots. We already know. And how you would sketch the graph if you had to show the roots as well, right? So let's jump at this question and get it in the record books. So I told you all we are not doing the formula method for this one. I'm going to do the perfect square method. So those of you all who missed the first bit of this, you're getting to see another method we use for completing the square. This is a more difficult method to master. It's I sometimes refer to it as the natural method or the perfect square method. So let f of x be equal to that. You take the 3 out of the first two terms. Oh, once again, we don't get a fraction, so that's promising. We get 4, which is also very promising. Yes, that's the technique. Well done, Malik. You take 3 out of the first two terms. You draw it out. I say whip it out. It's factorizing out of the first two terms. Then you get half of the negative 4 and you square it. Half of negative 4 is negative 2 squared is back to being positive 4. So x squared, that's the number you want to insert. Let me put it in orange. Plus 4. I inserted that number there. And I found that number by finding half of this squared. Half of that squared. Now by doing that, I have created a perfect square. This perfect square can now be factorized to x minus 2, which is half of this to be squared. So this is equal to that. These two things are equivalent to each other. Yes? So I did it. I created the vertex form, but I have some peripherals around the end to fix. I still have the plus 8. I added in 4, so let's take it out. But hold up, I didn't add in 4. I added in 3 times 4 because the 3 is monitoring whatever I did in these brackets. So I need to take out 12. 8 minus 12 is another 4 shows up here. Another 4 appears. 8 minus 12 is negative 4. And we put the 3 there, and we have just completed the square. That's it. So if you really perfect this method in 3 lines, 4 lines at most, you're done. That's it. So someone on TikTok is asking me to do simultaneous equation. I'm kind of sticking to one topic here. So somebody who's reviewing this, there'll be a lot of people watching this in the future. They get a systematic breakdown of completing this square, over and over and over again. If you want to see simultaneous equation, you could just search that up on my channel and you'll see it now. So we completed the square. What was next? That's 3 marks. That was 3 marks, by the way. And also, when you complete this square using the perfect square method, you just reach the answer. The answer just falls out, right? You just bang, answer. So you can write it's in the form. You can write it's in the form a into x plus h to b squared plus k. Where h is blah, 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 and a is blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to write all of that right now. So sketchy graph. We need the intercept on the y-axis. We already have this. The intercept on the y-axis is found by locating the c in the original equation. That's the 8. So the intercept on the y-axis, or also called the y-intercept, is that number, 8, whose coordinates is 0, 8. The coordinates of the minimum point is negative hk. We've done quite a lot of that. H in this case is negative 2. So it's going to be positive 2 and k is negative 4. So that's the minimum point. Additionally, if we wanted to find the roots, we weren't asked, but I want to show you the roots. Well done, Malik. I wanted to show you how we get the roots and sketch it as well. So the roots will be found by saying 3x minus 2 to b squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Just like before, ladies and gents, we bring across the 4, we get the 4. We bring across the 3, we get 4 over 3. We bring across the square root and the 2. I'll just speed up both of them. So you get plus or minus the square root of 4 over 3, and then the 2 will come across. So either x is plus or minus the square root of 4 over 3. Sorry, plus the square root of 4 over 3 plus 2, or x is negative the square root of 4 over 3. Negative 4 over 3, root 4 over 3 plus 2. Which, can you tell me the two answers that you'll get for this? 4 over 3 plus 2. 3.15. Y'all getting these values? Or 4 over 3. What y'all got again? 0.84, 0.84. So you're seeing that these are the two potential x values, 0.84 and 3.15. So here's how you sketch this graph if you have all of these things to consider. Now, usually if they give you the roots and you have to sketch this graph, you'll have this, you have this. We have the intercept 150, yeah. So the x-intercept is, the minimum point is 2 and it goes down to -4. That's another thing that we have. Watch it. We have that there. And we also have the y-intercept, 0.8. So it intercepts at 0.8. So these are the three things. Look very carefully, people. So just to reiterate, these are the starting things that we have, and you may have this in the exam, or you may have two of them. You have the y-intercept, you have the roots, and you have the minimum point. And they ask you to sketch the graph. How do you sketch the graph in a scenario like this? Well, if it's a minimum point, the graph is going to look like this, and that's the first thing you have to do. Just draw the curve. Just draw the curve. It's a sketch, so just draw the curve like this. Trust me on that one. Draw the curve. Now examine these fellas first. If you have to put them in, this is the next guys you want to examine, the roots. One is 0.84 and one is 3.5. So I'm going to imagine a line here. I'm not drawing it yet. 0.84, 3.15. And then go over to this. This is going to cut at 8. At 8. You see that? This is what I'm seeing in my mind. The curve is cutting here at 8. I have everything I need now. Because I know that the curve is running like this. So I'll draw my x-axis now. Use my ruler. Draw my x-axis. Now I can put in everything very quickly. Dash. What they wanted, the coordinates or the coordinates of the minimum point and the intercept. So I'm not just going to write 8. I'm going to write 0.8. That's the coordinates of the intercept. The intercept, no, they just wanted the intercept, but I'm writing the full coordinates. This one is the minimum point, that's 2, -4. And that's all they wanted in this sketcher. This is my graph of fx. That's all they wanted. But I'm also going to put in the 0.84 and the 3.15 in case that is what they ask in your question, you know what to put in. Never ever have I seen them ask by to use the comparing coefficients method. As I said, that's just wildness. If your school were to do that. Okay, another one, ladies and gents. Press like on the stream, share it up, press subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Subscribe to the channel, it helps. I know I have a lot of subscribers, but I don't mean you don't need to subscribe. You can still you can still press subscribe. Mission, we're trying to reach 1 million, you know? Yeah. So express the quadratic functions in the form ax plus h to b squared plus k, where a, h, and k are constants. And so otherwise, another one. You want it to begin to get repetitive for you. Are we ready? If you're ready, type ready. We're about to tackle another one. This one has a lot of parts, boy. A lot of parts. We have been going live for 60 minutes now, about 60 minutes. All right, so how are we going to complete the square for this? What method do you want to do? Ready. We ready. I have no political affiliations here. Just sorry. I apologize. Express the quadratic equation f of x. What method? Formula method. Elias said formula method again. So formula method again. So back to formula method, the favored method by students these days. So you're gonna write h is b over 2a, k is 4ac minus b squared over 4a. Very quickly, I'm giving you all a little time to get ahead of me. Work out this value. Once you get this, you'll write it in what they stand for. Therefore, you write it in this format. what a and h and k are. And then you want to get your mark, the minimum value of f of x. State the minimum value. That's just k. Minimum value of f of x is k, right? State the equation of the axis of symmetry. That's x is equal to negative h. And sketch the graph. I already show you how to sketch the graph, so you can quickly sketch the graph. So we have h is 1 and that k is negative 60. Let's go. Malik, well done. Very quickly done. Josanna also said that h is 1. Excuse me. If you want to join the class, there's the WhatsApp number always flying across the YouTube screen. 3101306 plus 1868. That's it. Plus 1868. I don't know how to space out the numbers so much. You WhatsApp that number and you can find out about the Monday class is closed, but there's a couple of classes that you can still sneak into. So b over 2a is 6 over 2 by 3, which is indeed 1. And k is 4 by 3 by negative 2 minus b squared, 6 squared, all over 4 by 3. So this is 4 by 3 squared by negative 2 is negative 24 minus 36 all over 12. So that's negative 60 over 12. Negative 60 over 12 breaks down to 12 can go into 65 times. That's just a clean negative 5 there. Very beautiful, very nice, very handsome numbers here. We love to see it. So I showed you how to write it. This is simply f of x is now a was 3, x plus 1 to b squared minus 5. We have solved the equation. It's in the form now. A x plus h to b squared plus k. A is 3, h is 1, k is negative 5. Part 2, hence how do I state the minimum value? Minimum value of f of x is k, is negative 5. State the equation of the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is always x is equal to negative h, and you have to literally write x is equal to negative h and then write x is equal to what is h? 1, negative 1. So now we need to sketch the graph. The same thing from before. We need to show the minimum point and the y-axis. So I'm not going to go through the roots again like last time. I'm just going to go through and show you how we would get the intercept. We learned that the intercept is from this number, negative 2. So the intercept is 0, 2, negative 2, sorry. And the coordinates of the minimum point is negative h, k. In this case, that's negative 1, 5. So I need to envision these two things. Let me write it here again to help you see. The y-intercept occurs at negative 2. This is the x-axis here. So I'm seeing this in my mind. Anybody seeing this in their mind? So the curve could be going like this, like something like that. Actually, curve can go like this. That kind of indicating a maximum. So maybe like this. Yeah, curve could be going like that. Or maybe the curve was on this side. Which side was it on? Well, we'll figure out very soon. Because the minimum point is on negative 1. Negative 1, negative 5. There's a negative here. Negative 1, negative 5. That's kind of scary. So the minimum point is over here. Negative 1, negative 5. So that's our minimum point. So I already know that the curve did this and cut at negative 2. So what's the tip? After all of that was happening in my mind, I just kind of scribbled it to show you what I'm thinking. The tip is to immediately draw this line. Draw the curve. That's our f of x. And draw what? Usually you draw the x-axis first and put the roots. But now I'm more concerned about the y-axis. This is our negative 2. X-axis, they're not interested in finding the roots. They're not interested in finding the roots because they didn't ask about that. They asked about this value here, which is our coordinates of our minimum point, which is negative 1, negative 5, collect your marks, go your way. The sign doesn't change for K. I made a mistake and left out the negative sign here for a split second. And just like that, real marks. But that's back in the days when a lot of marks used to share for these questions. Are you ready for another one? This was number what? 6, number 5 or 6? I think this was number 5. I don't even know how many questions we did. We do a lot. We do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. We into number 7 now. Number 7, what is the time? Yeah, we can do a number 7 and a number 8. This is going to be a really good video to watch in the future. Watching of 8 completing the squares. What a nice workshop. Maybe I should do another one. If I just comment nice things in the comment, get them subscribers up. I will think about it. So, yeah, share the live, everybody. Share the live. Take the moment to share the live. Press like. Do your thing. Fall in. You call this free revision. Don't let the procrastination get the better here. This is free revision. Just pop in. The diagram below shows this curve. So this is x squared minus 6x plus 8. For values of x from 0 to 6. These are our x values here from 0 to 6. Okay, cool. What's next? Use the graph to solve the equation. So instead of completing the square, they really want to see if you understand what happens when you complete the square. What is a quadratic curve going on about? Well, what are the solutions for this graph equal to 0? This is the roots. This is when you solve it. This is also called the x-intercepts, not y, x-intercepts. What is the solutions? From the graph, and I could call this f of x. Let me call this f of x. Let f of x equal 0. Let f of x equal that. When f of x is 0, that's the solution, right? When this is 0, x is going to be equal to, look at there, right there, that number right there, 2, comma, x is equal to, that's the next one, 4. That's the roots. That's it. So do you understand what happens from a graphical perspective? Remember when he equated it to 0 and we brought across the k, then we bring across the a, then we find this plus or minus square root and we form the x value, either x is this or x is that. That's the same thing. That's the same thing. Write down the coordinates of the minimum point in the form xy. From the graph again, we just need to direct our eyesight right here, so right there. Bang. That's our minimum point. And what is that coordinates? It's 3, comma, not negative 2, negative 1. 3 comma negative 1. Free marks. So if this come, I don't want to see nobody losing marks if it come like a graphical method. It came a couple years ago, graphical as well, like this. And you just have to read off the graph. Write x squared minus 6x plus 8 in the form. So they want you to use the graph here, from graph, to create this. We don't need to go and do it the long way. Why? Because we have h. So from the graph, for the minimum point, x is negative h, and the y coordinate is k. So what that mean? If I need to complete this square, tell me if you understand what I'm saying here. This is negative h, and this is k. So I don't need to complete this square, I can just use that. So therefore, h is actually, if this is negative h is negative 3, and k is negative 1. So therefore, it's in the form, there's no a, a is 1. There's no, well, a is 1. I shouldn't say there's no a is 1. It's not a number like 2 or 3 is what I'm trying to say. X plus h, well, h was negative, so negative 3 to be squared, and then you just throw down k, and that's the answer. Very weird looking, but that's it. 1x minus 3 to b squared minus 1. I'm using the fact that h and k is now given in the graph. I don't need to complete the square. On the same axis, draw the graph of the straight line. G of x is equal to x minus 2. So g of x is equal to x minus 2. How do we draw this? This is part of coordinate geometry now. It's kind of stepping out of the strict rule topic of completing the square. But this can be asked in this question. This is literally the line y is equal to x minus 2, which is very similar to the line y is equal to x. The line y is equal to x is a line that runs through the origin and goes to the point 2, 2, 2 maps at 2, 3 maps at 3, 1 maps at 1, 0 maps at 0. So that's this line. This is how the line, what's this? 6, 7 maps with 7. Yeah. This is the line y is equal to x. But we want the line y is equal to x minus 2. So the intercept drops by 2. So I can figure out now that this is the line that they're looking for right here. That's our line. Now I can also find out this line another way. This is more a very, this is g of x, they said. G of x is equal to x minus 2. This is a more, need to understand coordinate geometry. Pretty good to just quickly come up with this here. Another way to find the equation of a line is to substitute. So if you have y is equal to x minus 2, I could say when x is 0, substitute 0 there, 0 minus 2 is minus 2. So y is 0 minus 2, which is negative 2. So that's a point. 0, negative 2 is a point. Then I can try another point. When x is, let's say, 4, y is going to be 4 minus 2. So y is 2. So this is another point, 4, comma 2. 0 minus 2 and 4, comma 2. This is the first point I got, 0 minus 2 and 4, 2. So I'd have gotten 2 points of the line that I could connect and create the line. So that's the next way you can draw that line. You understand? So that's coordinate geometry. That's a prerequisite to completing the square. You need to know how to draw a line if they give you a line. Hence solve. And what is this asking us to do? This is under the topic simultaneous equations. Somebody wanted simultaneous equations, they call it out here. This is simultaneous equation solved using a graphical method. This is one function equal a next function. Where the two do what? Where the two graphs coincide. This is f of x and this is g of x. If I equate the two of them together, I'm basically asking you what is the value of these. So what they want the solution, what they said, hence solve. So they want the x values. There's no y values in this. So I don't need to give the coordinates of the entire thing. I just need the x values. So from the graph, this is 2 and this is 5, right? 5. So I can indicate it on the graph. So from graph, and they said hence, right? So from the graph, the intersection, show them that you know that's the intersection they're talking about, is x equals 0, comma x is equal to 4, 5, 5. X is equal to 2, sorry, and x is equal to 5. Why did I say 0? 2, x is equal to 5. So this was a unique question. A unique question that kind of tested your idea and your knowledge of completing the square and graphs. Let's go. Let's go. We reached January 2020, ladies and gentlemen. This is modern times now. This is within the realms of the updated syllabus. This is question 8. This is 8. I lost in track of how much we do. And I'm going to count it again. So the function f is defined as follows. 4x squared minus 8x, expressed in the form, so we need to complete the square theory. So traditional, straightforward. If this comes to exam, I want not a soul in my class to get this wrong. You see, we go through 7 of these, and we went through it last week. And I'm going to do a little breakdown later. At 6:30, I'm going to go and do a little breakdown. Everybody tune in for the breakdown. Private candidates are coming through the breakdown. So all you collect this marks if they bring completing the square, right? The funny thing is completing the square only comes like about 50% of the time. You know? There is the chance that you open the paper and you don't see it. But if you see it, hopefully you smile. A little more than 50% of the times, a little more than half of the times. The function f is defined as follows. Express f of x, so let's go. 4x squared minus 8x minus 2. Which method? What is the method? that you all want me to use to complete the square here. So anytime I'm live on YouTube, I try to have my desk standing. But my back hurting me right now. Which method you all want? Somebody say perfect square method. Hey, they give into the perfect square method. So in the perfect square method, I'm smiling with this perfect square method because the 4 could come out exactly out of 8. So it's probably going to work out to give me something nice. I am seeing here that 4 is the by far the favorite number. You all seen that? In completing the square for CXC. 4 goes into this 2. They really like that number 4 to be hanging around here, boy. So I whipped out the 4. I factorized the 4 out of the first 2 terms. Now some of you all learn in school to factorize the 4 out of all the terms. That's an overkill. That's extra. You don't need to do that. So x squared minus 2x minus 2. And then what do? We insert half of this one, negative 2. Half of it is negative 1. We're going to say half of that squared. Negative 1 squared is plus 1. This is a perfect square. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a perfect square. Half of this squared. That's the perfect. And then we have to take it back out. Nope, not just that. Watch out what's guarding the brackets. It's 4. So we have to take back out 4. So in the end, you end up with 4 into x minus 1. The half of that comes back squared minus 6. Why is in the chat if you agree? Watch out, watch out. Yeah, y'all agree? Watch out, Malik. So therefore, after we've completed the square, we'd have collected 3 marks. So we usually write in the form a into x plus h to b squared plus k. So you're seeing they kind of fickle with the marks in this. Sometimes they're giving you 2, sometimes they're giving you 3. State the minimum. State. Anytime you see state or determine, well, determine is a little more, but anytime you see state, you could just write the answer, you know. Number 2, state the minimum value of f of x. The minimum value of f of x is which one now? You're also supposed to know by now. The minimum value of f of x is k, whatever k is. What is in the position of k? K is negative 6 max. Run my 1 mark. And determine the equation of the axis of symmetry. You're supposed to know this. The equation of axis of symmetry, and I specifically said that you'll have to write x is equal to negative h and then write it back and replace this. Don't forget to write x equal. That's part of it. A lot of you all just write is equal to switch the sign under 1. That's wrong. That's not the equation of axis of symmetry. Is x equal 1 is the equation. So you need the x here. You don't need the x and you don't need to write f of x here. This is stating the value. But when you're writing the equation of the axis of symmetry, that x here is needed. X is equal to 1. Or x is equal to whatever negative h is. Very nice. And that's it. That's the fastest 5 marks. That was it. That was it from January 2020. What you all think? If this come, you're getting that 5 marks, and that is 5 tough marks. This is section 2 marks that we are doing today. Section 2, ladies and gentlemen. We want these marks. Let's do another one. We do not the worksheet, boy. So in June 2023, look at all of this. This is when they engage us to write on the paper, right? We are writing on the paper. So we needed to complete this. This is coordinate geometry work. This is form 2 work here. You just simply substitute your x values and get your y values. And since I know that it's symmetrical, I could kind of predict the answers there without even doing any work. Oh my gosh. Because 7, 7, 5, 5, 1, 1, negative 5, negative 5. 2 marks. It's going to be symmetrical. The curve is symmetrical. So if you see, it's like I'm getting these points right now. So let's double check and see if I'm talking sense or if they trapped me and it's not symmetrical about those points. So substitute 1. Let's try 1 first. When x is equal to 1, y is equal to, substitute the 1, so negative 1 squared plus 1 plus 7. Nah, sorry, they trapped me. What I'm trying to get? I'm getting negative 1 plus 7. Oh yeah, I am getting 7. Yeah, that's it. So this one is verified. So I'm sure that it's going to be symmetrical across here. So 7, 7, 5 will match with 5, 1 will match with 1, negative 5 will match with negative 5. I've just figured out all of them there. So you could go and substitute and get the rest, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be the answer. Moving on with our life, on the grid we needed to sketch the graph between these. Now let's just write back all the coordinates here. Let's just copy and paste all the coordinates here. I could do that, or you might have to write it in the exam. And this is fun stuff here. Hopefully you know all of this. This is coordinate geometry business. We're just sketching a graph. And we have -3, -5. -3 went down to -5. So this is clearly this A is negative, right? So what type of curve is this? We expect the curve to do this. Anytime this number is negative, we saw one of that earlier back in the 20 somethings. Anytime A is negative, the curve will be like that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have a maximum, you call it a maximum curve instead of the usual minimum point. So this is another year we saw a maximum came. -2, something is wrong. Something is wrong here. Is that a typo? 1577. No, it's good. -2 maps at 1. -2 maps at 1, so it jumps up really fast. -1 maps at what? 7? No, -1 maps at 5. 0 maps at 7. 1 maps at 7, and then it's symmetrical going back down. 4 maps at -5. You all understand what I was saying about the symmetry? Where you get one point, I kind of knew that the other point was coming like that. Seen it? It's symmetrical. And now we need to sketch this. So when you're sketching this, you don't want to sketch like straight, 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 straight. No, you want to show them that you're curving all along, predicting this maximum point right there. So let's see if I can pull off this on this drawing tablet. Do they want me to sketch the graph for real, boy? Draw the graph. Yes, they do. Yuck. So let's go. Behold, I have become drawer of graphs. This isn't coming out too good. All right. A little better. Not the best. I have better performances on the record. Find this graph real stretchable. Where they get this graph to stretch over there? They switch they mess up the scale. They messed with the scale. Some like that you're trying to hit them. And there's no f of x or anything given, so that's it. You just draw that and you collect your 3 marks and you go your way. Rate out of 10, how much you'll understand this? So sometimes completing the square could come a bit unusual, where they make you draw the graph or interpret a graph. And hopefully you're ready if they decide to switch it up a little bit on you. Write down the coordinates of the maximum, minimum point, which they purposefully didn't give you. It's a kind of guesstimate vibes you're doing here. If I were you, I would work it out on my, I don't know, I can't. Oh yes, I could. I could work it out. Now, h is equal to b over 2a. So this is 1 over 2 by negative. What I want to see, 1. K is equal, I'll work it out. They want you to use the graph here, but I want to work it out to see if it really went to half. I might even show them now working it out. I'm doing this undercover. -1, 7 minus b squared is 1 squared all over 4 by, what am I trying to say? 4 by a, -1. So this one is -1/2. Yeah, so the x value for this would be 1/2, which I already know. I already know it's 1/2. I'm good with that. But I'm really interested in this value. Is it 7.5? What is it? I want to get like an estimate. So this is -7 minus 1. No. Negative 28 minus 1. 4 by 7 is 28. All over negative 4. So are they saying that that's just 7? No. 7 1/4. So I get negative 29 over negative 4. So this is 7.25 on the calculator. You all see that? So now I know it's supposed to be 7 1/4. From my graph, it's looking like 7 2/5. It's really supposed to be 7 1/4. If I knew that, if I know this question is coming after, I'd kind of gerrymander the system here a little bit. So really hit them a 7 2/4. Now we looking good. We cooking. You know what you call that? Ratching. So don't say I never teach you how to ratch, because I do. So this is 0.5 and this is 7.25. Write down the equation of the axis of symmetry of the graph. X is equal to 0.5 or x is equal to negative h. H was negative 1/2, but you're not really supposed to know h. You're supposed to use the graph. So the axis of symmetry, all the time we're talking about this axis of symmetry thing, that is literally what it means in the axis of symmetry. The line that splits the graph down the symmetry. This table is rock every now and then, make me feel like it's at quick. Anyhow, so you see how it's cutting it right down the center there? Whooshing! That's the axis of symmetry. You get two symmetrical pieces falling on the side by side we stand there. That's your axis of symmetry. Making sense? And this is the line x is equal to 0.5 or x is equal to negative h. Use your graph to find the solutions. Solutions are this point and this point. So they're supposed to be pretty symmetrical, right? So I'm predicting that this was actually 3 point. Shucks. I don't know what it was. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe negative 2.2. And this should be 3.2. Because if you go 2 this way, it should have been 2 this way, right? To show that some symmetry was going on there. So I'll put negative 2.2 and 3.2. That's a good answer. It may actually be slightly different in reality. So negative 2.2 and 3.2 is cooking. On the grid, draw a line through the points, bang and bang. Determine the equation of this line. So they was just on something this year, boy. They was aggressive this year. They had their rail on this graph. Negative 3, negative 1. Let's use a different color. Negative 3, negative 1 was this point right here. So that's the point negative 3, negative 1. And that point is drawn. And then another point 0, 8. 0, 8. So we know the y-intercept is 8. Turns out that this line looks like it's making a tangent. Very interesting. Very interesting. So that's what they're on. Did they? They run out of space. Look like they wanted to do that and then they wanted to ask you some more about that. But whoever was coming up with this question, they was cooking. They was cooking, but CXC didn't let them cook. I'm sure the person probably watch it, right? Whoever was coming up with this question, he was bubbling something here in the pot. But CXC didn't let you finish. So on the grid, we drew the line and we need to determine the equation. So all we need really is the gradient. And we know that gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So it's going to be 8 minus negative 1 all over 0 minus negative 3. So you're getting 9 over 3, which is 3. So therefore, the equation of the line is y is equal to 3 by x, and we know that the y-intercept is 8. You can see it here. That was that point, 8. So every time it went across 1, it went up 3. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, it did. Yes. So this is the equation of the line. Y is equal to 3x plus 8. We cooking. As I said, when you're doing coordinate geometry, when you're doing completing the square, coordinate geometry concepts sneak into this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the good time, 6 o'clock. Here's another one, January 2024. They also wanted you to sketch They wanted you to complete the square. It was some insanely big numbers, but it was pretty nice from January last year. Can you do this question? Maybe you want to screenshot it and try it now. Where would you get the solution for this question? www.kerwinspringer.com. You can find solutions there. Do you like my teaching style? You want to jump in the student hub for the last like 2-3 months here for exam? There's some space in like the Thursday class, the Tuesday class, +1-868-310-1306. This is the number you WhatsApp to join those sessions. Love and blessings, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this, and I really enjoyed it myself. I find like it was very fruitful. I know it will do well for the students in my class, especially before exams. So I just need to slide something here for TikTok to see. Great. So I know it will do you well for exams, and I think I'll repeat this again, not next week, but maybe following week or the following week. I'll do a couple of them before the exam for different topics. We'll workshop different topics. So this was completing this way. This will only be for like the tough topics like vectors, matrices, bearings. Look out for another one soon. Love and blessings, everybody. Enjoy. Bye, TikTok. Thank you, Moles, for not dying.